Hello, everyone. It's Janine Stanley here from Aira with your September Explorer call, and this is a jam-packed one. Well, as I said, I'm Janine Stanley. I'm the Director of Customer Communications here at Aira. We have a full house tonight. We have with us Sandy Marcus, who is our Vice President of Marketing. Hey, Sandy.
Hi, Janine. Thanks for having me, as always. And you can call me whatever you want.
We are sort of joined at the brainstem, I think, weekly here, Sandy and I. So we also have with us tonight Karthik Mahadevan from uh, excuse me, don't sneeze on the air, Janine, not good. But Karthik is from Envision. We're going to be talking Envision glasses tonight. So I know you were all anxious to hear about that. But we also have with us another special guest, Jody Barthel, and you'll be hearing from Jody here in a bit. She has a new role at Aira, and she has something really exciting to tell you all about. And we have, as always, our wonderful producer, Sid. Hey, Sid.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Janine.
Hey. So we will be taking questions in the chat today, if I have enabled the chat correctly, but we'll also be taking comments on YouTube. So if you out there in YouTube would like to make a comment or ask a question, we are happy to entertain those. But we also have another special guest that I totally forgot about. And it is probably our ultimate. We called him the penultimate, and then we realized we were using that term incorrectly, but he is kind of the ultimate Aira explorer, Mr. Michael Hingson. Hi, Michael. How are
Hi,
you?
Janine. How are you?
I am awesome. So let's get this party started, Sandy. We have some Aira news before we get into the real meat of the program.
Sure. Two quick updates. The first about the state of Connecticut. I'm sure everybody remembers about a year ago, I think that was maybe a little bit deeper into October, Aira was launched across the state of Connecticut for all transit and essential services. And right now, what we wanted to tell you about is using Aira within the state of Connecticut is even easier. So if you are physically in the state, when you call in, an agent will be able to identify where you are, and you'll be able to use the state of Connecticut offer for transit, for paratransit, or any sort of essential services like grocery shopping in the flesh or grocery shopping online, medical appointment, going to your medical appointment, booking a medical appointment, doing something at the pharmacy, confirming social distancing where that's still in effect, or maybe even reading a COVID test. So what's different about this now is it's a wee bit easier. A year ago, give or take, there was a code that you would apply. And now, based on some engineering work, again, when you call in, an agent will be able to tell that you're within the state. You'll be able to apply the promotion based on where you are. So I would encourage you to check it out if you've got something like that to do. Essential services are really broadly defined, which is a wonderful thing. Take advantage of it. And if you don't live in Connecticut, tell your friends who do live in Connecticut to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Dial an agent and you're on your way. Easy, easy.
Absolutely. And if you are visiting Connecticut or you commute there for your job, all of those public transit stations are Aira access locations. So go for it.
That's right. And for anybody who lives in the Northeast of the United States, lots of folks who are in Connecticut, maybe Massachusetts, certainly New York, maybe New Jersey, maybe even Philadelphia, all are very, very close to the little state of Connecticut that has a big, big offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we've got one other update to share, changing gears.
A good one too.
Yeah, changing gears a wee bit. So we've had our beta open for the desktop application for quite some time, more and more broadly, open to more and more people with increased utilization each week. So we're thrilled about that. What I wanted to share were a couple of updates that have been made. Again, it's beta, so we're still working on some of the features and functions and making updates pretty regularly. So a few big ones to announce this week. The first is that explorers can now place a call without needing to have a webcam on their desktop. So previously, you would experience an error making a call if you didn't have a webcam. You'll still be asked for settings to identify, right, that you're giving permission to the webcam, even if it isn't there, and then you'll be able to make a call. That's the first thing. The second thing is photo quality has been improved. The third thing is an interesting one. So obviously we take accessibility very seriously. And for our low vision explorers, the contrast has been improved, or I should say the contrasts, plural, have been improved on the interface of the desktop application. And then the last one,
This is the
which
big
is
one, I think.
huge. Yeah, this one's huge, and this one is Janine's favorite, is that the profile switching capability now works. So if you have a personal account plus one through your employer, as an example, you'll be able to switch between those two profiles. So more to come as we're still in beta. And again, more and more people using this every week. I would encourage you, if you haven't checked it out, to check it out, to try it out. And I'm going to give you the URL. And then if I'm wrong, Janine will correct me. Go to explorer.ira.io. And now I'm waiting for the yes or no. Is that the right?
Yep,
Good,
that is
perfect.
exactly right. And if you want
So
to know more about setting up your computer to work with the beta, you can go to ira.io/desktop. And that will get you the page that tells you all about what's new and exciting and how to set up your webcam with various operating systems and browsers. And go to town with it, folks. Play with it, and please let us know. Give us feedback in the feedback form. And also, you can write to support@ira.io with your observations, things that you like, things that work well for you, things that don't. So we're pretty excited about desktop.
great, thanks.
Awesome. And now the drum roll. I would like to introduce to you to tell us a little bit about herself, our new product manager, Jody Barthel. Hi, Jody. Welcome
Hi,
to your first Aira Explorer call.
thank you so much. Hi, Janine. Hi, Explorers. It's so lovely to meet you all, to be here. I'm really just excited to be part of this. I just let you know a little bit about myself. I'm not quite at day 60, but I'm getting close. So I've been here a little bit and have got to meet a couple of you all, and it's been amazing. So a little bit about my background is that I'm joining Aira. Been in a product for about 10 years now in many different industries. I've worked in games and apps and healthcare, most recently employee engagement software, which is really fun, but I am definitely a niche in the product world. And I feel like everything that I've done up to date in my career was kind of to bring me to a place as amazing as Aira. So I've just been a champion of making sure that organizations are, focused on something that's a newer term called product inclusion, making sure that we're looking at all identities, when we're and creating belonging through our products by centering, honestly, the most marginalized voices in every phase of our product creation. So it's a big passion of mine. And I don't have to now argue all the time or try to prove the point of why accessibility should be prioritized. It's all that we do here. And so I have just enjoyed it so much in these 60 days. And then a personal connection. So you all know, not that I need a personal connection to care about accessibility. It's something that I definitely, equity in any way is very important to me. But at a young age, my little sister, she really couldn't see all the time at night. We noticed that. And as we grew up, she actually got a late diagnosis of retina pigmentosa herself. So watching her throughout her life, kind of things happen with her, and working in tech, being like, tech can solve some of this stuff. Like, we need to figure this out, has really just empowered, like made, and watching her be empowered through technology has been amazing to do it. So I am so excited to be here and to meet all of you and to connect with you all and be part of this community, which is great.
And you
Yeah,
actually have an announcement for
I
folks, an
do.
opportunity.
I do, which is like a great way. Like Sandy just talked about some of our beta we have. Another part that we're going into beta a little more. So my first mission, and I have chose to accept it, is we're going to really be working with the team on improving our mobile apps. I think Troy has talked about this for last year, that we're going to be getting on new technology. So what we're looking for, beta testers. We want to open it up to new people who are willing to test. So we're looking for individuals, particularly Android users, that would like to participate and engage in helping us scope, get this out, and who enjoy problem solving. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat, but it's literally, it's a bit.ly/Aira beta, and I will put that, I hope I said that correctly,
Yep.
in the chat for all of you. And we encourage, and I will say that in the past, if you've applied for the Dynamic Insight group, we encourage you to apply again to this group. And we just thank you for your interest. And I'm really looking forward to connecting with you all through this. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Android folks out there, we need your help. So please, please, bit.ly/Aira beta. And we will have that also in the upcoming newsletter as well. Now, with a big drum roll, I get and I see that our fearless leader, Mr. Troy Attilio, is out there, and Karthik Mahadevan, who is the CEO and co-founder of Envision. And I would love it if you gentlemen would talk a little bit about how this partnership came to be, because many people know about Aira, they know a little bit about Envision, but how did we get together? It's not quite like chocolate and peanut butter, right?
Well, I don't know who gets to go first. Karthik, I'm really excited to answer this question, but I'm gonna have you go first because I have my view, and I promise to keep my view of like how this came together. No matter what you say, I'm going to tell you what I think. We haven't rehearsed this, but yeah, Karthik, how did this come together from your point of view?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to share my perspective, but I'm super excited to be here. So, like, thanks a lot to everyone from Aira for actually having me on. So it's always a pleasure to be doing something along with you. I think the whole thing, it goes, I think, a way back, I think, to the very early days of Envision, I would say. I think we got in touch with folks from Aira in the very, very beginning, because we both had, I think, a mutual respect and admiration for each other's work. So I remember back in the day when it was Suman and Anirudh and all of those folks. So we were in a touch with Aira and everything that Aira was up to since, I think, that period. And I think there was an immediate I think a connection because of the complementary nature of the way we both approach this sort of a problem of making a visual information accessible, but in two different ways, where Envision takes the approach of using artificial intelligence, but Aira takes the approach of using a human intelligence. So I think there was that complementary aspect in our approach that we saw, and I think we all know that a perfect solution is probably a combination of the two. So I think there was always that complementary aspect to it. But I think when Envision started to work on a smart glass, I think that's when a collaboration became a bit more apparent and a bit more it's expected, actually, even from our users. So I think that was the first point of spark. Actually, it came from the customers who said, hey, you have these smart glasses. It is doing a bunch of AI stuff, which is really, really cool. But won't it be amazing if it can also make an Aira the call from these glasses? And I think the idea immediately, it sounded obvious to us, but we knew that there was a bunch of technical challenges to overcome. And I think when our team, Aira's team, at a CSUN, we immediately started talking about it. I think we both understood that it's technically it's not as straightforward and easy to do, but I think there was enough sort of determination on like both our ends to actually like make it happen. And I think so like that's what got us excited. And I think we just started to sort of take on this problem like head on, and over a series of like months with very iterative improvements, almost overnight we had this partnership that actually got implemented and launched. So that has been the journey like so far between Aira and Envision, and as I saw it at least.
Hey, Karthik, that was so well said. I'm just going to pick up to CSUN. Everything you said is absolutely true. I think as two technology companies solely focused on improving the outcomes for people who are blind or low vision, like we obviously shared a mission, and Aira's roots went back to, the first idea, which was, what if we could create a solution for navigation? At that time, we didn't know all the potential, but for navigation, obviously it should be on Google Glass. As everyone probably knows, in 2020, the company was restructured, and I had to deliver the sad news that we were going to exit from the development of hardware or the purchase and deployment of hardware for a hands-free solution using glasses. And I think if the explorers want to chuckle with me, everyone knows that that was the hardest question to answer, as becoming the new CEO. Troy, why did you take away my glasses? I love my glasses. When are glasses coming? What kind of glasses are you going to, use? Like, this has been the question, because the hands-free experience is a very powerful one. Now, what you have is not just a hands-free solution. As Karthik said, you have this complementary solution. You can use AI, you can use Aira, you can use them together. But where it started for me, or picking up from the journey, was at the CSUN 2020, which I'll remind everyone was almost canceled, and maybe should have been canceled, because it was literally the week before shutdown, before COVID. There we were across the table, not knowing the pandemic was coming, talking about integration. It took us a little longer to get there, and I think people will understand why, because we're both companies that are growing our own technology and had to fit through the test of COVID. But coming out of 2021, was when I think both companies had the time to then focus on it. And then it got reinforced again at CSUN this year, where I think at both booths, as well as NFP and other places. But, I remember that distinctly. People would come to the Aira booth and said, hey, Envision's just around the corner. You should go talk to them about putting Aira on Envision. And I think, Karthik, you were telling me people are coming to the Envision booth saying, hey, can you put Aira on Envision? And privately, we're kind of chuckling, because we're starting to work on it. But it was just my point to all of you that, I, as well as now Jody, your new PM, and both companies, we pride ourselves in listening to your voices. And while we wish we could deliver more quickly, your voice matters, and we listen. And now it's just such a great day to be saying, we have glasses, right? We have an integration. You can go hands-free. So I'll close with that. But it's been a wonderful partnership, and I would expect more as we continue to develop together.
Excellent. And Karthik, I would ask you, because you have a very loyal group of Envision, customers, or I think you may have a term for them, Envisioners, and they really love the product. They really love the glasses. How has adding Aira been received by your customers?
Yeah, I think a very enthusiastically, exactly like Troy had mentioned, there were a lot of people who were already asking us, to integrate Aira for the longest time, and we had to sort of also bite our tongue, and we had to be like, yeah, it's in progress. We can't really talk about it. No comments. And even though internally the work was happening, we didn't really want to openly speak about it yet. So we were doing our best to beat around the bush. And I think I had expressed this to Troy, like, I think the biggest emotion I felt on the day of like launch was more of a relief than anything else, where I'm like, I can finally, answer the questions straight on that Aira is finally on the glasses. So I think there's a lot of excitement amongst the envisioners with respect to Aira, because now they have this a choice, right? And I think independence and freedom is all about having a choice. And I think now that they have this choice to be able to speak to an agent at any point they want to, sort of on their fingertips, I think that a choice is something that they value immensely. And I think there's a lot of excitement amongst envisioners. And we were also taking a look at sort of metrics earlier today with your team. And I think that reflects in the metrics as well, that people are very excited about having Aira on the Envision classes. And for me, I'm excited about use cases, right? For me, that's the most exciting thing, that sort of what is it that they they can do with Aira on Envision classes, which they were not able to do earlier. And there's all sorts of interesting and exciting use cases that is sort of like popping up, where people are able to now sort of use both their hands to do things, from like walking their dogs to picking up stuff at a grocery. All of these stuff that would have been a bit more of a cumbersome experience with the phone in their hands. So I think all of these are use cases that are pouring in, which actually so highlights the possibilities of having a partnership like that. That's been very exciting to hear every day.
Amazing. And I think probably I too had the experience of having to bite my tongue when people asked me, because that's one of the big questions they always ask: when are we going to get glasses back? Well, we're excited to have them back, and here to tell us about his experience with the Envision glasses is the person who introduced so many of you out there to Aira in the very beginning, Mr. Michael Hinkson. Hi, Mike. How are you today?
Hi there. How are you? And greetings to everyone.
So you have a pair of Envision glasses right there in front of you. Tell us a little bit about the whole experience of, the decision to purchase them, and then, of course, your onboarding and what you've been doing with these.
Well, they are kind of in front of me. They are on me.
Oh.
And so we do have them here. I have known about Envision and its glasses for a while, but just didn't make the purchase. But I've been an advocate for glasses with Aira since the very beginning, since I began working with Suman and even pre-Troy, Larry Bach and others, and Anirudh when he joined and so on. And the glasses were a very innovative part of Aira, because when people look at things, they look at them from the standpoint of their eyes when you're sighted. And it's incredibly important and interesting to be able to take advantage of that for us as blind people, to be able to have a mechanism to essentially be able to observe things from the same vantage point that sighted people do. And although Aira also works with phones and the phone apps and so on, you generally don't get the same vantage point. And it isn't, as I think everyone has pointed out here, it isn't a totally hands-free process by any means. I go through airports all the time now, and I have a little pouch I have my phone in, and the agent says, I need to look to your left or whatever, and I have to kind of turn my body and maybe keep walking or stop and turn. But originally, when Aira began, it used Google Glasses, the Google Glass. Yeah. It was a very expensive proposition, and also they weren't very programmable. So along the way, Aira switched to the Horizon glasses and to its own mechanisms, which were great. But there were also a lot of challenges with that, of course. And as we all know, eventually Aira wasn't able to continue that process, which was disappointing. But at the same time, it by no means ended the value of Aira, because Aira still provided visual interpreting services. And like many people, as I said, I run through airports all the time. I do a lot of things with Aira that make life a lot easier. And then, of course, along the way, TeamViewer was added and other things which were great. And then this year, the announcement came about the fact that Envision and Aira have joined forces. And now we have glasses again. So I took a look at it. I attended a couple of webinars that were being produced and put on, and liked what I heard and enjoyed the demos to a degree, because I like to go further than what the demos do. But anyway, I decided to bite the bullet and buy Aira glasses, which I did, or Envision glasses, actually. So the glasses came, and one thing I noticed immediately, they're actually much more durable than the original Google Glass.
Ah,
There are just a lot of things about them that are much better in the construction and so on. When I decided to get them and then got the glasses, I had actually been able to attend an onboarding session before my glasses arrived, although I had ordered them. Actually, I got to listen to John Gassman when he was doing his onboarding and
yes.
got to ask some questions. So I had some good knowledge, and additionally, I had access to the Envision glass manual
Ah,
and read up on everything that a body might need to know to start the process. And then along came the glasses. So it was a Saturday night that they arrived, and Sunday morning, I decided we're going to see what we can do to set this up. I will tell you within 15 minutes, because of the ability to look at QR codes and the very good accuracy and clarity of the instructions, I completely onboarded the glasses or completely activated the glasses myself, both in terms of interacting with the Envision app, as well as becoming a part of Aira and being able to actually use it to make Aira calls. The QR codes were easy enough to be able to scan. I'm used to being able to do some of those things, and I think that some people may have a harder time than others, but there are things to do to make it work well. But the point is that the instructions and all of the things that Envision provided made it absolutely straightforward and simple. So literally within 15 minutes, I was up and had my first call with Aira and have enjoyed it ever since. So I'm looking forward to running through the first airport now with the glasses, and that will be coming up.
wow.
But the other part about it is that there were a lot of things that were very cleverly done to make the app, but also the glasses, much more usable. So for example, with the glasses, I can read, I can find objects, I can make calls, of course, to Aira, as well as using Envision's Call LI, or just doing other kinds of things that a body would have to do. One of the things that I find most interesting is that reading has become very easy to do. There was a lot of thought put into making it possible to read. One of the things that you can do when you go into a reading mode is you can do what's called instant text, which is literally the system uses the video capabilities of the glasses to immediately read something. So if I'm running through an airport and I happen to be looking at a sign, it will read the sign, and I don't have to do anything to make that happen. But one of the things that I'm still getting used to and taking a little bit of practice, and I'm moving so I can make this happen, is when you read, one of the things you can do is called scan text. And with scan text, when it's properly invoked, the first thing that it will try to do is to look for whatever document you're trying to read, and it will tell you if you need to move the document up or your head down or whatever. And I'm going to try to do that right now, and hopefully it will behave like it was when I was muted and I did this. So one of the things that happens with the glasses is if you don't use them for a while, they go to sleep. And so after about 20 seconds of non-use, they go to sleep. And I'm sure some people are going to say, well, can we vary the time? I don't know that you can, and I don't want to. I don't want to use more battery life than I need to. So I'm perfectly happy if after 20 seconds I'm not using them and they're not interacting. I'm perfectly happy for them to go to sleep. But I'm going to wake up the glasses now, and we will hopefully be able to make this work. Maybe my speaker went to sleep, but we'll see.
And the really interesting part about this, Mike, is you can be, using any of these modes, flip over instantly. Oh, there we go.
Correct. it's a very versatile system. And I tried to connect my computer directly to Bluetooth, and there were some problems with that, so I wasn't able to. But here we go.
Read.
And you can hear the glasses because I do have it connected through a Bluetooth speaker. So I'm going into the read function.
Instant text.
I don't want to use instant text because I want to
Scan text.
show you the scan text thing. So I'm now going to tell it to scan text. I'm going to try to tell it to scan text.
I love live demos. And we are receiving all of your questions out there.
No
We will-
document detected.
Ah, there it goes.
No document detected.
It will. Trust me.
No document detected.
As he's moving the document, you can hear
No
that in the
document
background.
detected.
Yeah, you got to put it in exactly the right place. It's a little bit
No
sensitive.
document detected.
And so this does happen.
No document detected.
Oh, hush. Try this side.
Move document up or you're heavy. We're not able to capture your
All right.
document.
It took too long.
Make sure
So
to not block any corners and
I
have the
want to-
document on arm length distance from your right eye. To practice capturing a document, open the document guidance practice in the help category. Do a one-finger double tap to capture your document manually.
yeah, all that's lovely, but I don't want to do that. I do want to show you this. Come on.
Now, the really interesting part about this is just one of the things that you can do with the glasses.
No document
You
detected.
can do a number of other things. And as you heard
No document
the
detected.
app say,
It is a little
No
sen-
document
it
detected.
is a little sensitive. And so if it doesn't do it, it is my fault. It's human error.
No
I
document
know
detected.
that. And I'm still getting used to the whole issue of being able to
document
place
detected.
documents properly to scan them.
Sure.
I don't think that is anything other than just kind of the nature of the beast. And I will learn more about how to do that over time, I promise. But
Trust us, it works.
it does work, and it was earlier.
Hmm. Oh, no worries, Mike. Believe me.
Oh,
These things happen to me
Read.
as well.
instant
But the
text.
nice thing
Scan text.
is that with these glasses, there is a place on the side. You heard it say
Document up
to
or your
do.
head down.
Oh, there we go. And
Maybe Mike, as you
Document up or
play
your
with
head
that,
down.
you could close your microphone. I think Janine's going to take us to some
sure, I'm
questions.
going to take you to a couple questions.
No document detected.
From-
Well,
our
okay.
guest.
So we'll stop. But
No
the-
document detected.
I'm going to turn the speaker off. But the point is, it is there, and it does work.
It will definitely work.
As I said, it's always we had this muted, but that's okay.
Document on arm length distance from your right
But the
eye.
bottom line is that it does read well, and the instant text works really well. And there are just a whole number of other kinds of functions that the glasses do provide. And I think that anyone who is going to be doing anything that requires access to being able to deal with visual things will find that the glasses will absolutely enhance what we do. That is something that I'm absolutely confident about from based on what I've seen. I've used it to read labels on bottles of wine, and usually curvature is a big problem. I've used it to look at a number of recipes. I've used it for a lot of things around the house that are just more convenient because I can do it hands-free, which was a lot harder to do with a phone. Anyway, so
Awesome.
there we go, Janine.
Well, we will await your airport story, Mike. I cannot wait to hear where you will be going and what that experience is going to be.
I will be traveling to San Jose Airport in late October, and one of the first things I do when I get there is I'm going to be looking with instant text for the Einstein Brothers Bagels shop.
Yes. And the nice part is, if it's not visible with instant text, voila, you've got Ira right there. You can just.
I do have Ira, and that's
go.
absolutely.
So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So we had a question, and maybe Michael, you can address this in real world use, but I would like Karthik to talk about this one. And the question from the audience is about the field of view. Because the camera is located above your right eye, basically at the right kind of right side of your right eye, how is the field of view affected? And do I have to turn my head to the left often, or how does that
Everybody seems to be asking that question. So let's talk about field of view. You have a wider field of view if you can see, but you've got two eyes then. And so if I recall right, the field of view with the glasses is roughly 83 degrees going across the camera. So generally, I don't find that I have to turn my head, or at least not very much, depending on what I'm looking at, because the camera does see through a pretty wide angle. And look, whether the camera is in the center of your face, right above your nose, or it's on the right side, it's still going to see the same angles. And so you're not changing a lot what the glasses sees if the camera is in the middle of your face. It's not going to make that much of a difference, especially with that kind of a wide angle. So I think you're going to find that it doesn't make a big deal or a big difference. Probably if there's something that's very close to the end of what the camera could see, and you have to turn your head, let's say, a little tiny bit to the left, you're going to have to do that anyway. And you might have to turn it just a little bit more to the left because the camera is on the right side of your face, but not enough to talk about. I haven't generally had to turn my head much at all to see things.
So I'm going to pop in, Mike, and ask if we're going to pivot to Karthik for a couple of minutes. We have the luxury, right, of having Karthik join us
Sure,
tonight. And
the head technical guy here.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Karthik, do you want to add anything to that? Obviously, you are the source on all things about, right, the field of view.
Yeah, no, sure. I think like a way that Mike answered it is absolutely spot on. It is an 83-degree angle, so like field of view. So that's a slightly wider than so like what you're used to with your with a camera on your phone. So it does allow for a lot more to be captured. Maybe the only thing to add to that is, even though the camera is located on the right side of the glasses, it is angled a bit inwards. It is ever so slightly angled inwards. And because of that, it is pointing towards the center of what you're like looking at. And further away the object is, the more centered the object is going to be. So if you're trying to like sort of like read a document or a jar and you're attempting to bring that up close to the camera, in those instances you might have to like hold it a bit towards the right. But the farther away something is, the more so like centered it will be because of the angle at which the camera is. So in our experience, what we instruct people is that if they're trying to so like read a document or stuff like that, it is easier to start with it a bit on the right and then move it inwards instead of the other way around. And in those instances is when we see that people get the best like results.
But remember, the camera, either way you look at it, even though it's pointing just a tad inward, whether it's in the center of your face or it's on the right-hand side, the camera is still aimed the same direction. You're only talking a difference of about 3 inches. So it's not going to affect really what you see. So people really need not worry about that. We're not saying that it's on the right side of your face and it's pointing a different way. It's not. It's pointing ahead of you, and it's going to be the same basically either way. So you're not going to see a difference.
Agents
exactly.
tell us, I'm sorry, Karthik, the agents actually tell us the view is quite good with the glasses in terms of scope. Now, Karthik, we had a number of questions from people about connectivity when you are away from your home Wi-Fi. Can you explain how this works with the phone's hotspot? Because there seems to be a lot of confusion and angst about setting up a hotspot and getting that to work with the glasses.
Yes, of course. So basically, as you're out and about, the way to like sort of like make a call is through like a hotspot, which you can generate from your phone. So all of the modern like smartphones have the ability to generate a hotspot. and you can now connect these glasses to the hotspot on your phone, and you can use the internet of the data plan that you have on your phone to make these calls. There is a bit of a friction that happens, especially on iOS, because of the nature of a hotspot generation on iPhones, basically. And that is mainly to do with the fact that in iPhone, it requires you to be on that hotspot settings screen in order for you to generate a hotspot. So the glasses are able to pick it up, but then it's not very easy to input the password on the same like phone, because as soon as you go away from that hotspot settings screen on an iPhone, it stops the broadcast. So that sort of is a bit of a friction here. So but it's only a friction for the first time when you need to input the password of the hotspot on the glasses. So the way we advise people to do it is, like for the first time, if you do it at home, in which you can either generate a QR code of the password on a different screen as opposed to the device from which the hotspot is being generated, because like once the password has been taught to the glasses of the hotspot, from like next time on, it's going to be as like smooth as a butter. As soon as you step out of the house, the only thing you need to do is turn on the hotspot on your phone, and the glasses will immediately sort of pick it up as the only a network within like range that it is able to recognize, and it will automatically like make the connection. So there is a bit of a friction specifically on iPhone for the first time to connect the hotspot, but we have extensive instructions on how to make it happen. And we also often sort of like do that as a part of the onboarding itself, is to like hook people up to the hotspot on their phone. But then like that is the way to operate your internet on the glasses as you're on the go.
Fantastic.
Think about it another way also.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Think about it another way also, though. There's nothing new here. The way the iPhone, and I don't use an Android phone, but the way the iPhone is set up is unless you have the hotspot screen open, the iPhone isn't broadcasting that there's a network available to you. And that means that people can't just, if they happen to be watching you typing in a password or whatever, can't grab it and then join, because if the hotspot app isn't open, it's not broadcasting. Now, having said that, as Carpet said, the first time you use the hotspot, you, just like with anything else, when you're using it with the glasses or when you're connecting other devices to it, like sometimes we've had a power failure and I've used my computer connecting to my iPhone hotspot. The bottom line is, the first time you open the hotspot and want to make a connection, just like with any other system, you have to identify a network. Well, the hotspot network is there, you know it, but you also have to enter a password. There's nothing new there. Once you do that, you don't ever have to do that again. But what you do have to do is, let's say you leave home and you need to be somewhere and there isn't a network, and so you're going to use your iPhone hotspot. You have to open the app so that the glasses will see the hotspot network and make the automatic connection. You can then close the app, but the glasses have to see the hotspot broadcast with the app open, because that's the way Apple sets it up.
I would assume, Mike, that is the Envision app that people would be opening.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I assume that it is, and let me make sure my mic is turned up. Here we go. I would assume that it is the Envision app that people are opening so that they can actually get that. And I believe, Karthik, there was a setting in the Envision app where I could have something like a trusted Wi-Fi connection, and I could put my hotspot details into that particular part of the app. And then if I had the Envision app open and I had the glasses on and I wanted to make a call, I could certainly do that, or I could connect to that network. That was my experience. So, and I think probably we could talk a lot about connectivity and all of these things having to do with hotspots. But let's move on here in respect of Karthik's time, because it is very early in the morning for him. Now, our next question is about weather tolerance, because the primary use for Aira users for these glasses is going to be outdoor navigation. So, what are the weather tolerances of these glasses?
Yeah, so they are pretty, I would say, are tolerant or like resistant to the weather, and like to be very sort of technical about it, they are an IP53 are like certified in terms of a tolerance to the weather, which means that they're okay with water splashes and so like dust that is on them, so it can like handle that. So if you want to sort of take them out and there is a bit of a drizzle or a rain that's happening, then it's probably going to hold up like fine, but do not take them for a swim. Then they'll not do good. So that's in a nutshell like what IP53 implies.
They're water resistant, not waterproof.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. How about hot and cold, heat and cold? How does that affect the glasses?
Yeah, so basically a good operating like a temperature of the glasses is between 0 to 35 degrees Celsius, which is a 32 to like 95 degree Fahrenheit. So that's the ideal temperature you need to sort of like keep it at. But in terms of storage, it can like it can handle between minus 20 degrees to up to like 45 degrees Celsius, which is about a minus 4 degrees to 113 degrees in Fahrenheit. So in most of the commonly experienced, I would say, like weather conditions, like glasses will hold up. Fine.
And these are pretty good. These are pretty good numbers compared to even some other kinds of devices. So
Exactly.
the tolerance is good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we had another question about different types of frames, and then we'll go to your questions in the Q&A here. Karthik, I know that there are the titanium frame, which is basically a wire structure without the bottom parts of the glasses. Does that come in different sizes? We had someone ask because she has a very small head and she was afraid that it might not fit her.
Yeah. So unfortunately, as of now, we just have like a one size for all the frames. So we do have different like frames available. So there is the titanium like frame, and then there is a Lux frame, which is a bit more stylized, a frame which can actually hold the lenses, and then there is a like a Smith Optics like frame, which is the more durable and so like rugged like frame that we have. But as of now, they're all one like size, and it's mostly like adult like size. In terms of a recommendation, we do feel that the titanium like frame is the one that can adapt to heads more easily because of like a lightweight structure of it. So the way it clings to the head, we have seen that for like younger like users, especially like people who are still going to school, the titanium like frame is something that seems to work. So I think our recommendation was always to sort of like give it a try, because there is a sort of like a 30-day sort of like refund policy that we have. So we always encourage people to just order them and like give it a try. And if it is not the right fit, you can always return it. But yeah, in terms of our sizes, it's just that like one size at the moment. And we do not have any indication from like Google if there will be any like more like frames that will be available anytime soon.
However, one of the things that I have done in the past with glasses, and I haven't done it yet with these, but I will because it'll work, is you can go to glasses stores or to any a lot of pharmacies and so on, and you can buy bands that are made to attach to glasses. They go over the frame. They have ends that can go over both sides of the frames, and then you can adjust them so that it will hold the glasses on your head. There's a little bit of an issue on the titanium frame because on the left-hand side, there isn't a large end that then goes into the smaller piece of titanium. But I don't think that that's going to be an issue, and I'm going to work on that. But you can buy bands very easily for just a few dollars that you can attach to the glasses to keep them on your head. And a lot of people do that with glasses, people who can see. So there's nothing wrong with doing that.
No, absolutely not. So let's go to our questions from the Q&A. I believe I've got everybody's questions here. Let's go, Sandy, to a couple of the Q&A questions, and then we'll see from Sid if we have anything over on YouTube.
Sure. And just before we go to those, I wanted to add, since we're talking about purchasing things, for Aira Explorers, if you want to purchase glasses, you can call Aira Customer Care and get a 10% discount on the glasses through the end of October. So if you're thinking about it, you've got a good maybe 5, almost 6 weeks while that promotion's still active. Let's see. And you're purchasing them through Envision, just customer care agent will help you and be able to provide the right codes to get a 10% discount on the purchase of the glasses. And with that, we'll go over to the questions. So the first question, kind of back to the conversation about field of view. And if I'm understanding it correctly, this one's less about the horizontal left-right field of view and a question about whether there's any work underway, probably with Google, to expand the field up down. So the question's about expanding the vertical view available to an agent when they're viewing live video through the Explorer's glasses. So Karthik, that's probably for you.
Yeah, so that would basically be an improvement on the hardware, and as of now we don't have any clear indication from Google whether there is a hardware improvement in terms of field of view in a consideration. I can assume that as and when they will have an upgrade of the hardware, they definitely will improve on the camera, as all the newer sort of like devices do when they do launch a refreshed version of it. But as of now, I'm not aware if Google has any like plans to increase the field of like view any more than like what they already have.
Do you have any idea what the field of view is, or the degrees up and down is, as opposed to side?
No, I don't actually.
I don't
think
either.
it's
So
83 degrees, and it's usually a radial thing, but I do not know exactly what the cutoffs are actually.
Yeah, but again, everyone using glasses looks up and down, and so the field of view is, so it's not like it's magical, and you don't have to look up to see a lot of stuff.
Yeah, one of the things I would encourage people to do when they get their glasses is to work with an agent to have them show you the field of view. By using your hand, they can tell you, above your head, below, exactly what that field of view is, so that you know what they're going to be able to see. Sid, do we have any questions out there from YouTube?
Not so much that as, but there is one question as part of the Q&A asking about the availability overseas, and in particular, Australia.
Good question.
Any thoughts
Troy,
about that?
yes. Could I have Troy and Karthik both address that one?
Karthik has, I think the answer is going to be yes. Aira provides service in Australia, and Envision ships almost worldwide and has many more supported languages than Aira does. Aira's English, Spanish, French from an agent perspective, and we certainly have plenty of Aira customers in Australia, and yeah, it should just work, right, Karthik?
Yes, so Envision glasses are available in Australia. So if you're in Australia, you can just order them directly from our like website, and the glasses, it will be shipped to you all the way in Australia. We also have a distributor in Australia called and it's a Pacific Vision International is the company that we work with in Australia. So if you do want, you can also order the glasses from them, but you also have the option to order the glasses from the Envision's website. And if you do make a call to an Aira agent, they'll be able to help you place an order, which will be shipped to Australia as well.
Yeah, so bottom line, it's not it should, it does. You can absolutely use it. CEOs both agree.
Outstanding.
CEO ×2 stamp of approval.
Yeah.
So a couple of other questions about the physical. Let's see. Well, I suppose not the physical. It's physical and operational. So one is about whether the lenses can be tinted. And then the other, and would that have an impact on the performance for what the agent can view? And then the other is just asking for some comments about how long they hold a charge for and how long it takes to charge them up to 100%.
Yeah, on the tints one, it is possible to order the glasses when you order it with a Smith Optics frame, to actually order the tinted lenses on them as well. So Envision as of now just offers one standard like variation of the tinted like lenses, which is just a dark tint on the glasses. But these like lenses that are on a Smith Optics frames are very standard optical lenses. So like what a lot of our like customers do is that they just take the frames to the local optical store, and they can just like have the lenses in them are replaced at the local optical store, which is ideal, especially if you have if you have like a prescription, or you have a power that you need to actually like have on the lenses that you've ordered. You can always just take the frames to a local optical store and ask them to add the tints on it. But if you are simply like require a dark a tint on the lenses, it is something that you can also order on the Envision like website along with your purchase.
The other part of that is that whatever you do with lenses has nothing to do with the camera. The camera is above where the lenses go in, so that's not an issue at all.
Yes.
Hey, I'll draw on our prior experience with glasses as well. We know a lot of explorers and now envisioners will wear the glasses. And Mike, I think you might have even done this, and then separately wear their own sunglasses or eyeglasses, if you will. Like,
yeah, some people.
Yeah.
I didn't even do that because I don't tend to wear glasses. But but you're
true.
right. Especially with the titanium frames, it's real easy to do that because they'll just sit right above your regular glasses. So and they're very light.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right that wearing them with your own regular pair of glasses in addition is not a deal at all.
Excellent. Now let's talk battery life. That was our
Okay.
question.
So again, that's why I made the comment about they go to sleep after about 20 seconds. But the battery life, according to the manual, is somewhere around 3.5 hours of use, as I recall, if you use them constantly. If you don't use them constantly during the day, they go to sleep and the battery will go longer. So it's not bad. One of the things I really like about these glasses as opposed to the original Google ones is, and I'm doing it now, I have the glasses plugged in, and I have my the cord going from my glasses to what is keeping them charged, and I can use the glasses while I'm sitting at my desk while it continues to be plugged into power, so I won't ever go down below 100%. That didn't used to be the case, and that is a really cool thing. But yeah, you're going to get about 3 hours, 3.5 hours roughly, but you can also recharge them pretty quickly. But the other thing is, if you've got a battery pack and you're out traveling, keep your battery pack charged, plug the glasses into the battery pack with the USB cable, and again, you'll keep a charge.
Exactly. And that was going to be my next question, actually, Mike. Sandy, do we have any other questions from the Q&A that we can address that are technical, maybe for Karthik and Troy?
One other that's technical, and then one that's interesting about use. So the first one about question about how they operate. The question is whether they have their own speakers or or is a Bluetooth earpiece required?
It has its own speaker on the right-hand side, and you can also connect it to Bluetooth if you choose, which is what I did earlier. But there is a speaker on the right-hand side. The right-hand piece of the glasses is larger than the left side. The camera's built into it, and the electronics are built into it, including the speaker, which is pretty loud, by the way. But also, the value of the fact that you can connect it via Bluetooth means I can use it with an AfterShokz or now Shokz headphone like the OpenCom or whatever, or connect it to a speaker. And I know when I go through the airport, I will be using it with the Shokz because I want to have it going through both ears, and it will be louder because the Shokz will add more volume to it than the one speaker can do in their bone conduction. But you do have a speaker that works in most cases unless it's a really noisy room.
Yes. And Karthik, we had a question about connecting via Bluetooth to hearing aids. Is that possible? And are there models of hearing aids, do you know, that will not connect?
Yeah, so like technically it is possible to connect these glasses to any like Bluetooth device, including hearing aids. But I do not know enough about like hearing aids to comment on if they all like would work. So if you have a hearing aid that usually like works with any other Bluetooth electronic devices, then the glasses should also like work with them. But if there are of a special kind, then I would not be able to answer it because I do not have a specialized like knowledge about that. But we do have a lot of the customers who are using these glasses with like hearing aids. So I do know that it works, but I'm not sure if it works with all the hearing aids out there.
There were also a couple of people on the Aira list that talked about having a special device that they used to connect their hearing aids to like Bluetooth headphones and so on. And of course, that would mean that they could use them also with the glasses.
And Karthik, this is Troy. You might mention that you have a very, I don't want to say generous, but appropriate refund policy. So if someone were to purchase the glasses and for whatever reason, they can't get that piece working, right? What is your refund policy?
Yes, so it is a 30-day, and it is a no question asked a refund like policy. So you can order them, and within the 30 days of purchase, you can just return them, and at like no questions asked. We do ask a question about is there a reason or like feedback, but even if you choose not to answer it, we'll still offer you the refund. So that's what a no questions asked a refund policy means. It's not that I will not ask you the question, but you don't have to answer it. So yeah, and it is pretty like flexible as well. So at times people ask us if they can have another week of testing, or they do need a few more days. So we can be pretty flexible on it. But yeah, the idea is that sort of because everybody has such your different individual like requirements of these glasses, so like we do want to just ensure that everybody is comfortable and they are confident about the choices that they're making. So we do ensure that people have the option to give it a try before they make a full commitment into purchasing the glasses.
Another thing I would just thought of to observe is that the glasses are like other things. They evolve. And so the firmware or software is updated from time to time. In fact, I've been through one update already. It was absolutely straightforward. I went and looked and I saw something about there's a software update available, said update. And less than a minute later, we had the latest version of the software on the glasses. That's really cool. And that happens because the glasses are already connected via Wi-Fi.
Excellent. Now, Sandy, you said you had something interesting from our Q&A about an
Sure.
situation.
Sure. So maybe one more, and then we'll take it back to you. Comments about wearing them in public and how people react, respond, or maybe recoil at the thought that they're being watched
Yeah.
or worse yet, recorded. So
You know, people, I'm gonna
Yeah.
jump right in. People are always watching people. I find it interesting the number of people that continue to walk around talking on their phones all the time and not paying attention to where they're going. And I hear a lot of people watching them and commenting. Look, the glasses are not weird. Google certainly made sure of that. You don't look weird. In fact, my wife was very impressed when I got the glasses and put them on. She said, these look a whole lot better than the other kinds of glasses that you've used in the past. And she's a very critical soul, but people aren't going to look at you funny. And very frankly, if they do, they really need to understand what's going on. I would rather someone say, gee, why do you got to wear those things and there are no lenses? Isn't that weird? I'd rather be able to have the glasses and go through airports and do all the other things than worrying about what one individual thinks. But I have yet to have anyone react negatively to me with these glasses or even the original Google glasses, other than my wife says these look better. But they're not bad. And I think we need to collectively get over that self-consciousness. We're not going to look weird if we're using these glasses or if we're going through someplace in public and talking, whether it's with the glasses or on a phone. People are talking on the phones everywhere all the time. And if they don't look weird, I'm not going to worry about it.
And I would say, as a woman, and if you are, someone who is a fashionista and male, female, whatever, I think I really like the titanium frames because of their thinness. They're very, and if you have regular glasses, you can simply put them over top of. They will rest very nicely on your regular glasses. And I have had people ask what it is that I have on my glasses, but I have not had, and there isn't, I don't believe, maybe Troy and Karthik, you can verify this, there isn't like a red light there telling everybody, oh, look, you're recording me. I don't believe there's that. So they're pretty inobtrusive, actually.
Yeah, maybe just to add to that, I think one of the reasons we picked the Google Glass, it was because of their form factor, in addition to the performance. When we were testing your devices on which to put Envision's software into, we did a run through a bunch of different smart glasses. There were even a smart glasses that actually had better, I would say, your processors and stuff like that on it, but they just had a form factor that was so big and bulky that it was very weird to actually have it on your face when you're out and about. So one of the reasons for working with Google is because they had put a lot of thought into the design of these glasses to actually make it look very cool. And I have it on me almost every time I'm out and about with these. So I do wear them pretty regularly, and you will have that odd person who will ask you about it, but they're asking out of fascination because it does look like a gadget that you have on, and it does look very cool, but it's never with a stigmatizing way as to why do you have that thing on and you're looking like a cyborg. But just on the thing, so there is actually a small LED, there is a light in there. It's a green light that is in the front of the glasses that only turns on when the camera is on. So every time a camera of these glasses are on, there is a small a green indicator that turns on to indicate to the person in front of you that now the camera is on. So there is that more of a privacy indicator that's in there. But yeah, but that is in there more for the comfort of the person around you, saying that, hey, if I am recording you, then you'll know. If I'm not, then the glasses will stay silent.
Yeah.
I have never actually had anybody comment on that light. Well, we've gone over our typical hour time, but I did want to make sure that, Karthik, we got all of your information. You have a webinar coming up next week, I believe, on the 29th, I believe it is. And
Yes.
Where can we find out more and be sure that we get on mailing lists or groups or something that we can get these notifications from Envision?
Sure. So I think the best a place for information would about events and upcoming like webinars that we do would be on our like socials. So we are on a Facebook, a Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, so like you name it. And Let's Envision is the handle in all of them. So that's LETSENVISION. Let's Envision. That's the handle to look for in all these social platform. We also have a newsletter, and you can sign up for it on the website. So if you go to let'senvision.com, so that's LETS envision.com. You do have all the links to all of the social tech media pages on it as well, but you also have a form that you can fill out and be a part of the newsletter that goes out every month.
Excellent. Excellent. And we will have this information for you also as part of the release notes in the podcast, which this particular episode will probably be out on Friday in our podcast feed. So stay tuned for that. And now it's time for the Braille Calendar, but I just dropped the Braille Calendar on the floor, which is why you hear all this bumping around here. But my amazing Braille Calendar tells me that our next call is going to take place on October 19th. Now, October 19th, Sandy, is right after a pretty significant date on the calendar for us blind people, right?
That's right.
Segue?
If people didn't know better, Janine, they might think we even rehearsed this.
Never.
So I think it's a Saturday, October 15th is White Cane Awareness Day. And White Cane Awareness Day used to focus a bit more on safety, was actually called Safety Day. I'm sure everybody listening knows that. Now the focus is much more about equity and independence, clearly something that we care deeply about. So Janine and I are announcing a little social media fun and games beginning October 1st in recognition of White Cane Awareness Day. We invite you to take a photo of yourself. It can be just you. It could be you and your white cane. It could be you and your guide dog. You could take this photo when you're in a call with an agent, post it to whatever social channel you like, and most important, tag it with "on my terms." So we're looking to generate lots and lots and lots of photos of explorers with or without white canes, with or without guide dogs, tagged with "on my terms." At the end of the month, even though White Cane Awareness Day is a day, through the whole month, at the very end of the month, we will draw one person randomly, and they will reward some sort of fabulous gift that I have to admit, we have not identified what that gift will be, but we will, and we'll include all of the details in the Aira Connection, our monthly newsletter. But again, encourage you to participate and tell your friends. Quick photo, tag it with on my terms, and we're sure to get a little bit of a viral buzz going. Again, all about White Cane Awareness Day.
Absolutely.
And with that, I hand it back to you, Janine.
All right. And you know, your Aira agent can take that picture for you. They can also give you a good caption for it and a good description for it, so you don't even have to write the alt text. Yay. Well, I would like to thank everyone here, especially our special guest, Karthik Mahadevan from Envision and the amazing Envision glasses. Troy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And hey, I have to thank Mike Hingston. I haven't seen this guy in a while. So Mike, thanks for joining and being part of early Aira, and now, you know, Aira again. So, and of course, Envision. So thanks a lot, Mike.
Anytime.
Thanks, everyone. It was a pleasure, as always, and I look forward to having a chat with all of you guys sometime soon, and hopefully with some exciting updates in the future.
And I would say to everyone, if you're not on the Aira lists go on the list, subscribe, and if you are, look at them closely and ask any questions relating to the glasses. There are a lot of Envisioners on the Aira lists, and we've actually suggested that Envision start a list as well, which will be cool. But you can get a lot of information pretty quickly by going to the Aira list and asking questions. You'll, as you know, we're all pretty vocal, and we're not at all hesitant about telling you what we think in a good way.
Yes, absolutely. And you can get to our email list. The address to subscribe is Aira the plus sign, subscribe at groups.io, and we will get you right on and you can ask your questions. Now, anyone who has put something in the Q&A, we will get back to you and answer your questions as best we can, or we will forward them to Karthik and his team to answer, but we will take care of everyone. And until October 19th, you will be getting your newsletter probably in your email box tomorrow or Friday. But until then, and until next time, I'm Janine Stanley, and thank you, Sandy and Sid, for being my backups, and Jody for being with us to introduce herself. She will be a regular part of these calls as well. And last but not least, our call will be changing its time. So next month, our call will begin at 6 p.m. And from now on, our calls will be from 6 p.m. to 7 Eastern Time. That is going to be 3 p.m. to 4 Pacific Time. And folks in the UK are going to get a bit of a break. It will be at 11 p.m. in the UK. And then whenever we change times for daylight savings time, it will change again. So Janine will be thoroughly confused by November, but we are moving the call 2 hours earlier. So with that, I am going to say good night to everyone and have a wonderful rest of September and an amazing October. Thanks from Aira.